here we are. Welcome to today's stream. So as I was saying when nobody could hear me, and thank you for telling me, welcome to the L+U 101. Today is going to be a stream where I'm going to give you a really beautiful welcome to the system. It is going to be really fun, whether you are totally new here or whether you have been around for a while and you just want to hear like how to comprehensively summarize, explain the system. You want to gain some new insights. It's going to be really fun for everybody. And for people joining on the replay, of course, I'm going to put chapter titles down below, so you can just jump to the good stuff if you don't want so much of the streamy bits. But I'm definitely like in a little bit more of a conversation-y mood today, so gonna be chatty bits. But I do, as always, have an outline because we gotta have an outline. Otherwise, it's like, what are we doing? So our outline is, okay, beautiful. First of all, we're going to talk about, is the system for you, right? So we're just going to summarize, like, what are we doing here? Is it for you? Then I'm going to give you a short and sweet explanation of the system, like a nice little overview. I'm going to talk about how to combine the style key with other style advice, because I know this isn't the only style advice in the world. And then finally, I'm just going to tell you like how and where to start if you're curious but haven't actually started doing the things yet. Okay, so that is the plan, and thank you everybody for your big support in the comments. Okay, I like that people like the plan, and it seems like the stream should be fine, because I remember also last time there was some like video quality issues, and I believe they should be fixed now. Okay, thank you, Venica, for saying it sounds perfect to you, because I have also spent a very long time thinking about this, because of course I want to explain it in the best way possible, so I'm happy you like it. And thank you for saying you like the color in the jacket. I'm so happy about it. I feel like this jacket is like so Rita, so I got really, really pleased I could get it. It's like great, and it goes with everything. And I have like a really giant light on me right now because it gets so dark in Sweden, and now that fall is coming. I don't know if you guys have been around the channel for so long, but last year I made some videos in the winter because I was actually in California. And in the previous 2 years when I had the channel, I just like legit didn't upload any videos of me during the like darkest month, like December and January, because I could never record it during the day. So I would just do like voiceover videos or something. But, you know, like we grow and evolve, and now I have grown and evolved into a proper light setting. So that's okay. Very exciting times. All right, let's jump into the discussion on, is the style key for you? Because that's what you come to the system and you're like, am I going to actually bother learning about this? What am I going to get out of it? So I want to say that first of all, the style key, and if you're trying to explain it to anybody else also, this is really important. What we're doing here is we are taking the really big picture on style. We really believe that there is no such thing as one good style, but it really depends on the person what is the good or the best style for them. So something that you might actually really don't like the way that it looks could actually be the perfect style for that person, and it's the best thing they could be doing. So it's about viewing style very individually from this big picture perspective, not about trying to, you know, make every outfit as perfect as possible and trying to come to the one outfit everybody's going to love, but it's actually about creating a personal style that's just like really, really good for you, and you're in a really good groove with your style on an everyday basis. There's some highs, there's some lows, but overall, like you're doing style in a way that feels good for you. So that's a big picture mission of the system, is not to conform to any one idea, but really to take a hyper individualistic view of what your best style is. And it definitely is a complex system with new concepts. I don't think that the distinctions I have between the quadrants, I really haven't seen them mirrored in other style systems. So it definitely requires some new type of thinking about style and new understanding of how we present ourselves. Not only the actual quadrants, but also the specific way I use the keywords. There are these special archetypes, there's the style logic, so is definitely lots to learn. It's not a system that you can immediately understand fully. So it's also a system for people who like thinking about stuff and figuring it out and being a little bit patient. And not only is the system a lot of work, but I would say style is a lot of work. So the other thing is that this is really a system for people who want to put in the effort in terms of style. It is for people who really recognize that style can be super important, super meaningful, really powerful. So even though it takes time and effort and energy and experimentation and money, all of that is worth it because you're supposed to be getting something out. So I would say it's different from people who just enjoy style as a bit of a side hobby or do shopping as a hobby. There's nothing wrong with that at all. We just all have different priorities. And I think the style key is for people who are interested in making style more of a priority. And finally, it's just, I think the style key really appeals to people, as I said, who are very interested in getting something out. So if you as a person intuitively recognize that style is something that you could use as a tool and you're excited about getting something out with it, then it's a really great system for you because you will be able to get out the thing you want. And I came up with a really good analogy here, so I would like some applause for the analogy. I was thinking the best analogy for the style key for me is like training. You know that exercise is really good for you, right? But not everybody has time to exercise, and some people just don't like it and they don't care and they don't prioritize it. It doesn't make them bad people. They can have a healthy and positive lifestyle in other ways, right? But it's just not for them. And even among people who do like to exercise, the point is there's some people who are like, okay, if you're gonna exercise, this is the only thing you need to do. You need to go to the gym 3 times a week and it needs to be like X, Y, and Z. But in the style key, it's kind of like asking with the gym. It's like, what do I want? Do I want to maximize my strengths on the major lifts? Do I want to increase my condition? Am I just like exercising in order to boost the amount of energy? Am I exercising to feel more comfortable in my body? Right? There's all of these different goals you can have with exercise, and based on what your goals are, you're going to like train in a different way. And some person, if you're having a really good time training just to get some more energy and just to feel a bit more happiness in your everyday, and some person comes to you and they're like, oh, but why aren't you doing squats? Because I can squat 100 kilos and why can't you do that? You would just be like, because I'm not trying to max my squats, I'm just trying to gain more energy, right? So I want the style key, like my purpose with it is to give you that same level of confidence in your own style decisions where you're like, well, what I really want to get out of this right now is I want to have fun and be creative. So obviously, I don't need to compare myself to somebody whose goal is to look as impressive as possible to please their boss so they get a promotion. Like that is an equally valid goal for that person. And we just have really different goals right now. So obviously we take different roads to get there. So that's my analogy. And I was really proud about it. I did think about it while I was at the gym. I was like, this is like style. My secret is that I just think about style stuff and like how to explain things to you and how to help my clients. I just think about it literally all day, every day. It's what I do. So that's why it comes out good in the end. Oh, hi, Serena. Thank you for being here. I'm really happy to see you. And thank you, Chandra, for saying you love the gym analogy. Oh, I just saw that when you send like a heart, I see a little heart. That's really cute. I like that. I never noticed that before. Okay, so that's a gym analogy, and I think really that's the main thing for you as a person with wanting to come join the style key world or trying to convince somebody. If they're a person who doesn't care about style and doesn't want to put in the effort, or you as a person are like, I don't really care that much, then it's like, it's not for you. And there's nothing wrong with you, and there's nothing wrong with the style key. It's just not a match, right? So I want just you to know that if that is a match for you, you're so welcome here, and I'm going to like help you as much as I possibly can so you can get the most out of style as you possibly can, because that's my #1 obsession, desire, and want, and hope and dream is to help you as much as possible. you can say I'm cute. I am very cute, and I am told that a lot, and I really enjoy that about myself, how cute I am. I enjoy it all the time. Okay, so we did the thing, and now we are going to talk about a little bit on the like big summary, right? So style key is about creating a big picture for your style. And I always show you this slide. Your essence is going to be in harmony with your style, right? We're always talking about how we want to put your essence in harmony with your style, right? So that's what we're going to do in order, that's our gym, whatever thing, that's how we are going to get you those results. And then obviously like a very, very normal human question I show you this slide, especially if you're like, yeah, just any amount of new to this is just like, okay, what is essence, right? And it's like, so first of all, I just want to say that the essence for me is the complete experience and impression of you as a person, which is such a broad definition. It's like, it's the flavor, it's the feel, it's the sensation, it's the story of you. Look, I didn't invent the essence word, so I don't want to be like put responsibility on this. It's a word I have encountered a billion times when trying to like, you know, become a better person and heal my traumas, etc. I just feel like most self-development, spiritual, religious, philosophical, humanist texts have this idea that like we people have an essence. Okay, so I was like, yeah, it captures the thing. But the point is, the essence is the flavor of you, and it's not your personality traits. And I know this is like really, really hard, because especially for people new to the system, because it just seems like, okay, but your essence should be your personality, right? But it's not, because personality are like values you have, it's kind of like the content of your stuff, right? So you could be creative, you could be kind, you could be sensitive, and you could be anywhere on the style map. Like you could be a sensitive person anywhere you want. So it is tricky to realize that essence is not like the personality, but it's kind of like the way we bring the things into the world. And here I have created another really good analogy for you. So, you know, again, would love to let me know if it lands. But I was thinking it's like we could, as people, we could have 10 different people who all have the same message we want to bring into the world. Like, let's be kind to each other, right? Message number one for all of humanity, right? Be kind. But you could take this message and you could bring it out in so many different ways, right? You could make a film about a message that shows that message in a story. You could do a collage. You could do a modern dance. You could organize a club that helps people volunteer their time, right? And all of those are different types of ways that we can send and evoke this message into the world, and kind of the content that's being transmitted, the importance of the kindness is the same, but the way, the style of expressing that content is different, right? The story and intention is the same, but we bring it out in the different ways. And I feel like that is my best analogy for essence, that it's kind of like the tube through which your content travels, right? So all of those things that are the unique, sparkly, wonderful you, how do you get it out there? How do you express it? Because style in the dictionary definition is the way that we do things, right? It's not the things we do, but it's the how. So does that make sense to you, that essence is this kind of ephemeral flavor, feeling, and story of you? I would say it's okay, lots of hearts. I would say it's like your personal branding almost. That's another good way of thinking about it if you can get past the capitalist overtones. I really like that idea, that it's how you represent yourself, the vibe, the big picture. And that is why I like to use celebrity examples to illustrate, because like they're like judged on how well they can do their essence, because that's what they're getting paid for. So, because of my love of celebrity examples, I'm going to show you some quick celebrity examples. I'm not going to make this part too long, but I'm going to do it. Okay, here we have this lady. She's named Miranda Kerr. I don't know if you know her. I think she's a model. She does other stuff. Okay, so here's what she looks like. She has... Should I show you my face? Do you prefer that? I'll put my face right here. There's Miranda Kerr. She's really pretty. She has kind of a strong facial features. I would say like her bones in her face are really poppin', and she has very light, soft colors. And as you can see, she is a very long person with kind of like strong shoulders and really like a long build, right? And then we have another person named Emma Corrin, who is non-binary. So Emma, they also have the same, like very similar features to Miranda Kerr, right? Where you can say that Emma's face also contains quite prominent facial features. She has a strong nose, right? And again, they have this soft coloring that's similar to Miranda Kerr. And if you compare their body with Miranda's body, again, it's just like a long figure that's really long and narrow and has this kind of strong anchored shoulders. But obviously, if we compare Emma Corrin and Miranda Kerr's style, we see completely different things. But I show them side by side. I made this slide to say, like, I'm not saying that these people are identical. I'm saying that the physical differences in these people, if we're going by that style is just supposed to be about somehow taking your body and putting the prettiest wrapper on it, the physical similarities between these people do not lead me to suspect that they should have wildly different style expression. But spoiler alert, of course they do. So Miranda is known for these, you know, elegant, dreamy, and so soft, and so elegant, and quite minimal, very refined, very sweet, very pretty styles, right? Whereas Emma, they're known for very avant-garde, I would say, styles, and a lot of, I mean, oh my God, like I'm in love with this dress. It's a fish bowl, but it's like tied at the top. So a very more avant-garde, very impressive, very interesting, and kind of mysterious style. And I would say for them, they're using these sweetness of their facial features as a fun clash with this really edgy outfits that they prefer. So I feel like this is a great example of two people who in my system are placed in opposite corners because their chosen style expression is very, very different, even though their physical features would lead us to kind of think, okay, but if we're just trying to dress people up because we're trying to kind of just show them off, we would kind of dress them similarly. And the point isn't to say, oh, now I need you to vote on whether you think Miranda or Emma has the best style. The point is, as I said from the very beginning, that the style key is just about celebrating what people are doing when it makes sense for who they are, right? So Emma and Miranda obviously are people who are both really known for their good style because they are using all of the resources at their disposal to create a style that represents them and makes sense for them as people. And I know, like, I don't know, I probably don't need to convince you more on this, but I had a lot of fun with this, so I'm just going to show it to you quickly. So we can also look, right, we have Blake Lively, love her style. Again, a person who is quite tall and kind of has strong shoulders and very light, pale coloring. Some might say she's a spring, kind of elongated facial features. We're going to compare her to Sophie Turner, who has literally the same exact description of her shape and face, although obviously some people could pick it apart and say, no, blah, blah, the angles are different. Again, I'm not saying they're the same person. I'm just saying that the similarities are striking enough. But whereas we see Blake really loves, I don't know, very glamorous, very sophisticated, like glowy golden outfits, Sophie, I would say, just prefers things with more of an edge. I think that's the best way to summarize it, that are just kind of more cool and more sexy. I think that's the vibe that she prefers. We can also compare it to Florence Welch, which is another person who has a relatively strong shoulders, a long and narrow build, light soft coloring, elongated facial features, and she is a dreamy, ethereal mermaid in all of these custom-made Gucci gowns. And finally, I got you one more person with light coloring, with a relatively long and strong shoulders, with somewhat elongated facial features, and who is instead known for kind of a light and playful, casual, soft, cheerful approach to style. So I know this was like a whirlwind. I'm not trying to make some big point about these individual people. I just wanted to give you that introduction, which I like to do, to say that my point is that if we were just trying to use some sort of an algorithm prediction on what should Sophie Turner wear based on how tall she is, the height can give her some ideas. For example, she can wear these like giant jeans with giant pockets and she doesn't look overwhelmed by it. But it doesn't tell her what to wear. It just gives her some tips and tricks on how she can style herself. So it's super important that we kept consider what is the big picture, right? Because if Emma or Blake or any of these people, if they weren't thinking about, well, what type of person am I? What is the story? What is kind of the branding I want to present to the world? They would never land on these very distinctive personal styles. And then they would miss out on all of the benefits that their style presents to them. So it doesn't matter if you are Blake Lively or not, you're just a regular person who can still benefit super, super much from figuring out, well, what is your flavor? What is that feeling? What is that story of you that you want to bring out, that you want to settle on? So while we have some ideas about what looks good, and I'm not here to deny that at all, it's just about thinking like, well, what are my priorities? Because priorities are not always even to look best with our features. So that's why our tagline for Style Key is more than just looks, because it is the story and the feel of your style. And of course, when I say that, some of you are like, oh my God, I love that, that's great. And some people are like, okay, like that sounds like a lot. And again, that's the point, is I just don't think that everybody wants to really think about what is the story and feel of their style, because you have other things you want to figure out, and that's really fine. Just want to say that. But then for those of us who are like intrigued and we're like, oh, I've been working on my style for a long time, but because I don't have the story, it feels like I'm just doing stuff without really any progress, like it's not landing, and I don't feel like I'm building to something. I'm not getting out for all these resources and time and money I'm putting in. Then it's like, I got the thing for you. I got the system for you. Okay. Chana says, I remember how your husband Mirage once said in one of the earliest Style Key introduction videos that essence is more important than body type, and this really shows why. Yes, Mirage is infinitely wise in his wisdom. Thank you for saying it makes sense, Glimmer. I really like being validated. Thanks, Mirage. I like that you're agreeing with yourself. Oh, thank you for watching my stream. It's cute. Okay, so more than just looks, it's the story and feel of your style. And so now we're going into this short and sweet introduction, and I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a tour. So as you know, in the Style Key, what we have is we imagine that like literally the entire world, all of the people in the world, all of the style in the world is on this big, big piece of paper, and we have broken it up into these 4 boxes, which we call the 4 quadrants. And the idea is that we are going to put you into one of these boxes, and that box is the area where your style operates. And your quadrant represents kind of the intersection of your essence, like this feeling, story, vision of you as a person we kept talking about, your aesthetic, the look, right, all of these, the clothes, the colors, the shapes, the textures you choose, and the style logic, which is the process at which you create and develop your personal style. Now, I wanted to say something, because I feel like a lot of people are often like, what the heck is a style logic and why is this thing here? So I wanted just to have a moment to explain why we have the style logic in the system. So when I have worked with, I think 700 clients right now, a bit over. And when I started working with the system, I realized, okay, people, they can't quite easily put themselves into one of the big quadrants. I can help them see themselves, but a lot of people can put themselves into one of the corners. They understand where their essence belongs. But then what happens then? Because my goal is to design a system which helps you create that personal style that's going to give you results. If the system requires me or anybody else to come in and tell you what clothes you should wear, that's not that helpful, because you're not making all the decisions. So I was like, how do we help you make the decisions about your style so you are the person? And not only is it about me wanting to help you make the decisions, but it's also because, like, what is the alternative? So let's say you have intriguing, sensual, and dramatic essence. So you're like, I'm left up, I'm an amethyst. okay, so you could look at celebrity photos and very immediately you're like, well, I don't have a stylist or $1,000 and I'm not 22 years old and I'm not a size 0. So the train kind of stops there, right? This train needs to go further. The train needs to go further and say, okay, I take these as my inspiration. How can I translate these to my own life? And initially, of course, I thought, okay, but you just take the inspiration, you take these essence keywords, you take the archetypes, and you just make them work. But then, after working with so many people, and I'm a scientist, and I love systems, and observing and systematizing, after observing so many people working with the system, I was like, oh, wait a second, there's extremely clear patterns on what is helpful to people to focus on, how people arrive at their best style decisions, and how they best plan it out. So the thing is, I don't think you need to have like the style logic as I describe it in order to achieve an aesthetic that belongs with your essence. You could, for example, have a personal stylist who is really, really good at styling. And if you have a really good sense of who you are and you have this stylist, you got it. Or you could just be a person who has been shopping and styling yourself for a long time. And again, as soon as you get new insights about who you are, you get new insights about how you want to show yourself, you know how to implement that, right? So you look at the system, you say, oh yeah, I need glamour, I need glamour, I add glamour. Like that's it, right? So for you, it could just be something that you're able to do. So I don't have some sort of a dictatorial edict that all style actions in the style key system must be undertaken only according to these principles, but I have an extremely high level of confidence based on very, very many data points that there are different approaches to style that would help land you where you want to go. And I would love to talk about this sometime in the future at greater length, because like individually for each quadrant, I would really love to explain to you why it's like that's the one thing that makes the most sense. But that's not what we're going to do in this video. In this video, we're just going to talk about the keys. Yeah, so we're just going to start talking about the quadrants one by one, and then I'm just going to give you this really short and sweet overview of each quadrant and what they look like and what they do. But I just take a quick little moment to have my coffee and then see if people have any thoughts or questions on this point. And then I'll do my really nice little overview of each of the quadrants. And everybody, like, as soon as I say style logic, everybody's just like, please stop torturing us with this. I'll never stop torturing you with style logic, because it's very helpful. So I'm going to keep going with it forever. Okay, thank you, Unica, for the support. Yeah, and no, I'm never going to stop with the style logic, ever. Because it's like the more I do it with people, the more I realize it's good. And then I have clients sometimes where like they don't want to do it. So then we do a return session and I walk them through the exercise and they're like, oh my God, it works. And I'm like, yeah. It's like, I'm very convinced by it. All right, okay, so let's talk about the keys. It's time to speak upon the keys. So first of all, I put a little flower here to remind me to say that for each quadrant, I have their direction, so it's left up on the map, and then I have the amethyst key. So each quadrant has its own little gemstone, and these gemstones are mostly just color coding, to be honest, for my own purposes, visually for branding, but they were chosen with some care, well, tons of care, but they're not supposed to be that deep, so don't get too distracted by it. So left up is the amethyst key, and the overall essence, I would say, is exciting. It's about provocation. It is intriguing, raw, sensual drama. So it, as you can see from just this random selection of celebrities and their looks, it is kind of like over the top in its nature and definitely has the elements a lot of the what I call the left essence, which relates to the intrigue, gravity, being raw, the sensuality, and all of those qualities you can learn more about on my channel. And so for left up for the amethyst key, the most important thing to understand is that for you, style is just about communicating something about your inner world. That's the main thing, is you're like, this is what's in here and I want to show people and I want them to understand it. You want your clothes to speak for you. So it's really important for you that your clothes are really making that statement so it's heard, received, and understood. And because of that, you like to think, or you do best with style when you think about like the complete outfit. What is the whole thing I'm doing? What's the impression? My style tips for you are about really enjoying the excitement of style, about just putting things out there, trying things on, enjoying this kind of over-the-top drama nature without always, you know, making sure that everybody likes it or everybody's receiving it exactly the way you want. And that just accepting your personal need and desire for the drama, for the extravagance, for this intimidation factor. You really like all of those things. You like for your clothes to be kind of complicated and kind of intense. It's just a way that makes you feel safe as a person, because they need to kind of be a bit over the top for you to feel properly seen and understood. And also having all of those different layers of all of those aspects to your outfit gives you a positive feeling of control, gives you a feeling of distance from other people, so you like that. So you're taking the inner world, taking a lot of your inner qualities, doing things your own way, but you really like to do it in a way that has that flair that's seen, perceived, and understood by other people. So that's it. Left up, that's the amethyst key. Next we can talk about right up. That's the sapphire key. So I'd say this essence is impressive, it's inspiring, it's about harmony, the dreamy, the radiant, the glamour. And I say impressive because I think the sapphire key a lot of times is really about making your desired impression in the world. It's really, unlike the amethyst, who also really wants to be seen, the sapphire, they want to be seen, but they really enjoy thinking about how they're going to be seen and trying to control the way that they're being perceived. So for the sapphire key, I like to say style is about creating your best life. So whereas the amethyst, what they really get out of style, what they really enjoy is this feeling of being seen and communicating this inner world. For the sapphire key, I feel like you just want style to be this tool. And if it's working and you're kind of enjoying the things, you're doing the things you want to do, you can show up where you want to show up, get it done the way you want to get done. That's what works for you. Your clothes really meant to just like make an impression on others, and thinking about your clothes as an energetic contribution to the situation is something that's really helpful for you. So for me, thinking, for example, like obvious is if I come on to do a video or if I'm meeting with a client, I want to wear something a little bit fancy and special because I feel like it makes the whole thing feel fancy and special. So for me, style is a really big way to contribute. I think a really big focus for growth for right up for the sapphire key is to focus on giving yourself full permission. I call that the luxury. So kind of giving yourself the permission to have things that are not strictly necessary just because you want them and just because you enjoy them, not having to prove that you deserve them or whatever. And then as for the amethyst key, complicated outfits make you feel safe. So for me, that's really a big feature of the system, that for both the amethyst and sapphire, because you're in the up, what you really want to do is create these outfits that have that extravagance and that drama and that glamour and the mystery. And this complexity isn't just because you're like a show off or whatever, but it's just because that's how style really does it for you. And so when you try, for example, to create a lot of outfits that are really easy and minimal and kind of simple and that you love so much on other people, on yourself, you might just feel like they're super underwhelming, and you could be stuck analyzing, why doesn't this outfit work for me? And as we talked about in the examples, right, you could circle back to like your body type or your colors, and you could just be like, oh, like, why can't I wear these things? But it doesn't have that much probably to do with your body type, your coloring, that's a part of it, but a much bigger part is probably just who you are as a person and what you want and need from your clothes. I mean, for both amethyst and sapphire, you just really need and want that extraness. You know, I could just wear a t-shirt to do a YouTube stream. There's no need for me to wear a jacket. I just prefer that. Okay, to a little comments break. Traveling Femme says, translating essence to looks is the process that takes the longest. Yes, it is the process that takes the longest, but I have to say, okay, and this is just like maybe me with my rosy glasses, but I'm like, I feel like that's a good thing, right? Because I feel like when I was looking into a lot of other style systems in the world, there's a lot of things where you're supposed to spend a really long time figuring out like what is the type, right? So for season, I have so many clients who like they've done multiple drapings and they're never quite happy, and you could obsess over it for so long and then, you know, it still doesn't feel right. Or with Kitchener or Truth is Beauty or with Kibbe, right, you could just think about it forever and ever, like, where am I? And while you're trying to figure out where you are, you can definitely still pick up some skills and improve your style, right? So I don't want to underplay the benefit you can get from those systems, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of times it's like waiting until I get it. Whereas in my system, you of course figure out the more you work with it, okay, what are the archetypes? What do they mean to me? What are the keywords? But I think like the goal for me has been to create something where you can start using it kind of ASAP. That's my intention and desire and hope and dream. Okay, and Melissa says, if you do end up expanding the men's system, it would be cool to use metals for the keys. Like iron for left down, copper for left up, titanium for right up, and gold for right down, or something like that. That's really, really sweet. I definitely, yeah, that would be fun. I have to check with Miraj Dean what he thinks, you know, because he is the co-creator of the system here. I use the iron key. Maybe they would like to do that. Yeah. Okay, so we're halfway through our keys, so now we're going to talk about the other two. So first I'm going to talk about Write Down Quadrant, the Moonstone Key. So I'd say this quadrant for me is a lot about enjoyment of style, and you have this radiant, inspiring, the refined and dreamy essence, but it is also presented in a more understated way because there's a really focus for you on your personal ease, using intuition, and kind of flowing more in the process as you are as a person. And as you can see in the outfits, I put like a wide variety of looks from more casual to more dressy looks. But you can see that what they do have in common is that even when they are dressy, there's kind of an element of ease or understatement to them where, you know, we could pile up a lot more things. But they still have this very radiant, refined, and yeah, beautiful look. So for the Moonstone Key, style for me for that is like about support. It's about thriving in your situations as much as possible. I feel like the Moonstone process is like from the outside in. So it's like whatever is going on around you, or whatever inspiration you have outside, or just whatever you see out there in the world, it's about bringing it into your own world and kind of enjoying it, making it your own thing. Your priority for style is on your personal experience. So if you go think back to what I talked about in the beginning about how the style key is all about this really big picture about like what are we doing with style. So for you, the number one priority is like, how am I experiencing my style? How is this outfit, how is this dress making me feel today? So it is quite an introspective process. And for you, the thing that really helps you grow in terms of your style and to enjoy your style is to broaden your boundaries and to focus on exploring. Because as I said, you're a person who loves to like take stimulus, inspiration, everything from the outside world. So for you, it's really beautiful for you to look at, okay, what out there inspires me? How can I bring it in and incorporate that into my style? Which doesn't mean like shopping 24/7. It just means having this kind of growth mindset and exploring new styles for yourself. And then a really big emphasis also is adjusting the intensity of the outfits to suit your needs. So whereas for Amethyst and Sapphire, I talked a lot about how like you need this complexity, you need these things, it needs to have the drama and the glamour and the excitement. For Moonstones, it's less about like needing to reach a certain level, and it's not about like needing to like have a ceiling on things so it doesn't get too far. It's just more about finding like, okay, well, what do I personally need? How can can I make this outfit suitable for how I'm feeling? And a lot of people with this key have a, I would say, delicate approach to style where things are just like really overwhelming to you. They feel very loud, even if they're not really that loud. Or they do look loud on you for some reason you don't know, or you just like feel uncomfortable easily, or you just don't like to have that much attention and you feel like a lot of things make a lot of attention. Whatever your own flavor of the key is, a lot of the times you just need the permission from yourself to find where your desired level of comfort is. So just because your colleague comes every day with this like super complicated scarf tied around their neck in 37 different ways, you don't need to do that unless that's something that makes you feel really good. So it's really a lot about turning the focus onto yourself and really placing emphasis on like what style could be doing for you literally every day based on like what you're up to and who you're around and what the situations are. So it's a very like self-nurturing quadrant. I think that's really fun. Okay, and then next up we're going to talk about the left arm quadrant. That's the Ruby key. So I put again lots of examples here from the formal to the casual, and for me the Ruby key is very intriguing. It has this gravity, it's sensual, it's elemental, but again with that element of delicate essence, with that element of needing ease, with that more approachable or more intuitive approach to styling. And, you know, I feel like there's definitely a very wide variety in the styles you can wear in this quadrant. But again, there's always like this kind of like the twist with the intrigue or the sensuality. And there is this sense of understatement, right? So even like, okay, I put Kim Kardashian because I think it's funny because she spends like 10 hours a day getting ready, but it's for what? It's like just to look like au naturel kind of, right? She's like, it's just me in a dress. And that's, you know, of course she's creating an image because she's a celebrity. She's not, yeah. You don't need to do that. It's just a fun example. Okay, and so for the Ruby key, styling is self-centered. So I talk always about connection to self, and I'm always just trying to convince you to be as self-centered in style as possible. And I think this is really fun. And again, your priorities on your personal experience. And this is fun because, you know, people are like, oh, but Frida, like, I'm not a self-centered person, you know, I care about other people and I want to like do a good job. And I'm like, yeah, this is the part we talked about in the beginning, how it's not your personality, it's how you do things. You could be the most caring, generous, kind person in the world, but just style is not the way you care for other people. So again, a really easy example of style being for other people is like, you know that your mom, she loves when you wear bright colors. You know, in her head, she's like, bright colors, that's cheerful. My child is doing good. So then you're like, okay, if I go to see her, I should wear bright colors because she doesn't like when I wear like gray. You know, and that's like an example if you're trying to do style as a favor to somebody. So for Ruby, it's like, just don't ever do that. Style is just basically as much for you as you can possibly make it. And that's why I say your growth in style is really on focusing on giving yourself the permission to do the things you want and to wear the things you want, which could mean sometimes giving yourself permission not to get all dressed up when other people are really over the top. It could also mean giving yourself permission to spend like 10 hours researching that perfect cotton t-shirt that is going to feel really, really nice on your skin, or giving yourself this extra really nice closet space, giving yourself the time to organize it in a way that feels really good for you. Basically just focusing on using style as much as a resource for yourself as possible. And again, adjusting the intensity of the outfits to suit your needs. So a bit of the difference really between the Ruby and the Moonstone is I feel like the Ruby is just not as connected to their situations and to what other people are doing or what they want. I mean, for right down for Moonstone, it's like you do start with like what's going on and then you figure out what I want. But for Ruby, it's just not even as helpful to think about what do people want from you. Like, of course, you think about where you're going when you get dressed. So everybody does that. But it's like you kind of put that aside and then you think instead about what do you want first. And yeah, as I said, adjusting the intensity of the outfits to suit your needs. It's the same thing as I said for Moonstone. It's like coming to terms with the fact that maybe you have really high sensory needs or you just have really particular taste, and some colors, they just feel really off on you. You don't need to wear them just because somebody says they look good with your skin tone. Just giving yourself that freedom and that permission. Okay, so and that's our little journey through the quadrants. So next up, we're going to talk about what about other systems or style advice. But I thought maybe we could just like take a little moment and be together as human beings instead of just me talking. Traveling Femme says, I think I'm a left down, and the first thing I started working with was feeling really comfortable in my clothes. Yeah. Choosing clothes that no matter how fancy or casual, I could wear them wherever because they were so comfy, like pajamas. That's where I started, and I'm still working on it. Yeah, that's a really, really great place to start, because it's like getting back in touch with the wants of your body, which a lot of times we work so hard against that and we neglect it. So bringing that back in is super important. And of course, the comfort, as I like to say, that comfort really goes beyond the physical comfort in terms of the softness and the textures and stuff, because some of us could feel really uncomfortable if our clothes are, for example, too boring. Like if all of your clothes, tomorrow you woke up and they were this like khaki green that you personally dislike in this example, then you would just feel like, okay, like I'm not comfortable, but the clothes are like soft, so what's the problem? And I think that's like really fun to unravel and develop all of these different dimensions of what we personally need from our clothes. And as I talked about in my last stream, where I just feel like the style growth is really not a linear process, but it's really this cycle, right? So as you're going through the cycle of insight that you want things to be more comfortable, then you're going through a period of exploration where you're learning about, okay, what feels really easy for my body to wear? What are the things I tend to reach for when I want it just to feel easy on me? Then there's this period of growth where you're like, okay, I figured it out. I'm going to get these 2 new outfits, and I'm going to get this 1 new pair of shoes that I know are just perfect. And then it's the happy enjoyment phase until you're like, okay, now I'm realizing I need more to be comfortable, and actually maybe I need X, Y, and Z. And it's just this like beautiful, constant, enjoyable flow where anywhere you are in the cycle for as long as you are is beautiful, and you never need to rush yourself to the next place or the next stage. Hi, Granola Mommy. Yes, you'll watch the replay for Left Up. Jessica says, any recommendations on helping to determine our essence? Asking friends for what vibes you give off, studying facial features, etc. So studying your facial features is definitely not going to help you. And I'll just explain why. It's because in the system, the point is that you want to figure out how to create the effect you want with your body. So just for example, like my face is so cute, as we all agree, right? So sweet. But if I was like a really cool, really edgy person, I could like so easily do really edgy, like cool makeup. And then I would have this really cool contrast between how like cute and precious my little cheeks are versus how like edgy and cool my outfit is. And that would like add to the edginess and the coolness of the outfit. It wouldn't take away because my face is like adorable. It would like be like, oh, what's going on with her? And that would be achieving my needs. So that's why it's not really that good for studying facial features. And then in terms of asking your friends, this could be really difficult depending on who your friends are. The thing is that I feel like sometimes people don't really see us. They see rather the version they would like us to be, or they see the version we are already like presenting. So it could be the case, for example, that your best essence is like left up, but you've been kind of conditioned and convinced and I don't know, just invited into dressing like left down because you're like, okay, if you're gonna be like sensual and intriguing, at least make it understated, right? And then your friends see that and they're like, yeah, you're left down, that makes sense. But in your heart of hearts, like your heart is asking for the glamour and the drama. Or like likewise, you could be right down because somebody told you like you need to be cute and palatable, which right down people, that's not what it's about for them. But for you, that's kind of what you're doing. So again, like your friends, they could be just not fully informed on the full aspect of your heart's desires. And so I know that it can be a bit discouraging for me to be like, oh, and you can't type yourself with these two things. But I think that the one like easiest way to type yourself is just if you look at like all of the celebrity examples. For example, if you just want like a really easy, quick way, it's just to look at all of the celebrity examples from each quadrant. I have them on Pinterest. There's like 250 photos. And if you're just like, out of these 4 really big categories, like overall, which is the one like I secretly wish I could be the most, or which is the one where I'm like, and not this like, oh, like, because like I'm like, oh, I wish I could be this quadrant. Okay. But like the one where you like would hope that you would belong, I think that's often a really good starting place, because even if that's not the actual quadrant you should use, then like you will reach that awareness by yourself. It's going to be really good for you, because if you look at the pictures and you're like, oh my God, I really hope I'm right up. That's like my #1 dream. And then if somebody's like, no, you can't be right up because your essence isn't dramatic enough. And you're like, oh, okay, right? That's sad. But if you try the write up and you're like, oh, wait a second, like this is exhausting. I don't actually want to have to think about my impact or the drama in my life. And then you have actually gained an insight about yourself, and you like eliminated a category based on your own experience. So it's like you can't really go wrong in that sense. The only thing that's wrong is like you're wasting time and like thinking space, but you know, it is what it is. And then the like #1 way, I think that's not as quick and easy, but that is more reliable, is to try on the style logic for the different quadrants. So I have these videos with the style logic, and I have these foundations courses where I like really explain the whole logic to you in 3 different steps. And I used to sell the foundations courses separately, but I'm literally just about to update them so you get all of them at once, because I realize people want to use them to try out the different things. So I would recommend that, and you don't have to get the course, you can just watch my free video, but of course the course is a bit more in depth and nicer. But trying out the style logic, I think, is a really good way to figure out your quadrant, because again, that is more about getting to the heart of things where you're like, oh, I hate thinking about the situation, right? I have some clients where they're like, I don't even understand what that is supposed to be. Okay, but then you can easily eliminate that essence as a possibility, and you don't have to like worry and scurry about whether or not you're like dreamy or radiant enough, because that can be really hard to analyze yourself with these individual keywords. I think that's the other thing, is just, I like to say that it's very difficult for us to read ourselves from the outside. Right? Even when I started with the system, I was like, well, where am I in the system? It's like, of course I figured it out, but like it was not like immediately obvious, even though I came up with it. I just think it's not that easy to see ourselves. So instead of reading yourself from the outside, I like to say, let's try reading yourself from the inside and testing that style logic, or at least checking like, where are my hopes and dreams, where are my aspirations, and going with that. Okay. Granola Mommy says, I struggle fitting my ideal style into reality. Okay, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a process. We can talk about that some other time, because I have a lot of very concrete tips on what to do about that. And of course, oh my God, you should join the Leap. Well, if you have the energy for it, but that's what we do, put the ideal style into reality. And Elizabeth says, what if you think you're one quadrant, but you're really drawn to the style of another? I think I'm left down, but left up feels like goals. So what I said a bit about like being attracted to it, this is a little bit tricky, because I'm like, do you want to be her, or do you want to be with her? You know what I mean? It's a bit like separating, do you just think those things are really cool, or do you feel like, oh, there's something here for me? So I would say that the best way to deal with liking the style of another quadrant, if you're quite sure about yours, is just to figure out what it is you like. Because I think that, I don't want to, this is supposed to be a quick and easy overview, but I guess It's a bit more technical, but it's like depending on where you are, I feel like visually you can very easily borrow from the other quadrants. So for example, for the gentle grace, I'm often like, oh, you just dress right up if you want, like there's no problem, etc., etc. So I think if you just want to, if you're like, oh, I know I'm left down, but I really like the left up styles, I would just say go for it and then try putting them on, and then you're going to learn through experimentation when it feels off for you, because again, like your metric is always like, how does it make me feel? And if at some point you're like, no, this just feels like a costume and I've tried it and it feels like a weird dress up attempt and I don't like it, then you know it's not for you. And if you don't get that experience, then you're like, yes, success. But if you're not sure you're left down, and so you're kind of like, I'm kind of sure, but maybe I'm left up, then I would say try the left up style logic and instead think about like, okay, so if I wasn't just thinking about like, what's it doing for me, but I wanted to like show this thing to the world and I wanted to like make this impression and really be this like energy of excitement and, you know, create this energy in the room, what would that look like for me? And see, does that inspire you? Does that help you pick out an outfit better? Does it help you, like, does it motivate you in any way? So you can kind of, you know, not immediately because you have to shift gears a bit, but you can quite quickly see like, is this actually doing something for me? Because if it's not, then, you know. Okay. Will I have gentle guidance in October? Yes, I absolutely will. And I will email about it to my mailing list. Although last time I just opened the dates and before I emailed, most of them were booked up. So then yeah, I don't know. I will send an email. I'm sorry about not having as many availabilities. I would like to have more client times, but I can't right now. And Shan asks a very brilliant question. What if your style logic doesn't fit with your essence? So, okay, my easy answer is like, if you feel like you are getting the style aesthetically that really matches what you want and who you are and you're happy, then there's no problem. There's no need for you to do the style logic for the sake of doing it. So I explained this a bit earlier in the stream, like for anybody who's coming now and or watching this, whatever, it's like the style logic is just there to help you because I think it's the best, most useful way. But I think people are super different and it's hard to say, oh, there's only 4 styles of thinking. So I really want to introduce people to the style logic of their quadrant, and I really want to like communicate how does it actually work. So that's in the foundations course, for example, I really go through like, well, how do you know if this outfit is good? Okay, if you wanted to change something, how would you change it? Or if you look at your closet, how can you tell if it's good or not? So I really want to give you the tools on how would you do that. But if you feel like, okay, I wouldn't do it exactly like that, or I would do it quite differently, then just do that. The style logic, again, just really is there if you're like, how can I start taking steps to align my essence with my aesthetic, right? I know I want to create, for example, this write down gentle grace, really sophisticated, refined, but understated aesthetic. That's what I really desire. But how would I possibly do that? Then I'm like, try to write down logic. But yeah, if you don't need it, you don't need it. I hope that makes sense. And if it didn't help, then just let me know. Okay, Luna says, as a Ruby, I often feel pushed to wear and try other people liked for me to please them, but felt very bad wearing it because it felt not me. For example, I have a small color palette I truly enjoy. Yeah. So what you gotta do is you got to say no. And as I said, you just have to separate style from other parts of your life. Just think, I could be there for people any other way. If it's my boyfriend who wants to see me in this color, I'm gonna wear my color and I can give him a kiss instead. I can give him an extra hug. Or if it's my family and everybody says, oh, but we really want to wear matching outfits, but you would just have a terrible time in that matching outfit, you just say like you love them and you just say that I really don't feel like I could participate properly if I can't just wear what I want to wear? You know, there's obviously like limits, right, for like weddings, etc. But I'm like, for most of life, it's just for you kind of a lifelong process of learning how to set your own direction. And the good news is I think people in general, except for some people who are troublemakers, are very receptive to you doing your own thing. Because for Ruby, when you are styling yourself the way you want and you're doing the thing you want visually, then that's when you're connected in with yourself. That's when you can be present and connect better with other people. So they just appreciate you actually being you, and they can really, you can be you so much more in the right clothes. So whether you are trying to take care of yourself or other people, the answer is just to dress more for how you want. And if you realize one day, oh, I want to try new colors because I'm feeling like I need something more vibrant to pick me up, or I need something darker to be more moody, that's going to be your kind of prerogative and your path that came from your own desires, and that's really good. Oh, the system helped Canola Mommy embrace my inner glamour. I like that. Roberta says, I know thanks to your consultation I'm left up, but how can I figure out how much left and up I am? Should I just try? Yeah, you can do that. But also, I mean, I know we had our consultation a really long time ago, but you can probably just send me some photos and I can help you figure out. I can give you like my starting suggestion for where you are. And then for people watching the stream who haven't had a consultation with me, I think for a lot of people, when you learn about the system, it can be common that you really resonate with one of the dimensions. So you might feel like, oh, okay, I'm definitely up, right? And I don't know how I'm not how I am, but I'm like, I'm definitely up. So I would focus on following that and kind of going on the path of the least resistance. So for Roberta or whoever watching, if you're left up and you're like, oh, the more up stuff I add, the better I feel. So, you know, I add even more layers, or I add even more flair, I wear more complicated shoes, I add on more jewelry. The more I do, the better I feel. Then that's the up exploration, right? Or just the more deliberate I am with my outfit, the more time I spend like really planning the outfit out, the better I feel. Those are really good tips on the more upness. And with the leftness, I would just think, yeah, how much of all, like, what is your personal flavor of the leftness, and how much of it do you want to express? Like, do you feel like just a touch? Do you want a lot? And yeah, again, that's a little bit of a journey for you to, I would also think maybe about your current outfits. Another really good idea would be to, for left up especially, to take some photos of what you've been wearing recently, and then try to just rank them yourself on where would I put them on the scale. And there's no right answer here because we're just looking for your personal own take. So you can kind of put them on the map in different places and then think about like, okay, well, which ones were the ones that I like the most, which ones feel really like me. And finally, you can also do a bit on this like intuition thing where you think about, what is the area I feel like nervous to explore? Like, oh, I'm definitely not like the enchantress, or am I? You know, like, oh, like I couldn't possibly be so left and so up. That could be like a sign that maybe you actually want to explore there. So thinking about like, if you had some sort of a magical permission slip from the sky and they were like, you can be whatever you want, yeah, where would you want to go in the quadrant? I think that's a great tips for anybody who is trying to place themselves. Because I especially think people really hold back from some archetypes because, yeah, I don't know, we just have a lot of issues as a humanity, as a collective, about what we're allowed to do or want or to be. And I think you should encourage yourself instead. As I said, it's the same thing as with trying a quadrant. It's like worst case scenario, let's say you're like, oh, like my secret wish is that it could be like the siren, but I don't think I'm up enough. But then you try it and you maybe spend like a month or two, like not buying a bunch of stuff, but just trying to make siren-ish looking outfits, maybe get a couple accessories, try to wear your siren-y outfits more, like connect with the purpose of that archetype, try it out, and you'll either discover like, oh yeah, wait, I love this works for me, or you'll be like, oh yeah, no, it really wasn't me, and then you can just float it away because you're like, tried that and it wasn't for me, and you just relax. Okay. Why is everybody asking like literally the best questions ever? Like, what's going on? Are you all just like literally the best people? This is so amazing. I'm so in awe of these really excellent questions. I feel like this is so much fun, and we're having like, it's very informative and very personal and useful, which is, yeah, literal perfection. So like, thank you for being here and for asking questions. You're amazing, and all of you are superstars. Oh, Serena says, learning through the system has been a form of therapy on giving myself permission to like what I like and have my own goals. Yeah, it is so nice. And I mean, to take like a feminism moment, you know, it's really nice to have the permission to take agency and to take control over your style, not just how it looks like, but also, yeah, what do I want to do with it? I'm in control of like what I'm putting out there. I can take control in my own way. It's really, really nice. I feel like empowerment is always the dream. Okay, I have a couple like other things I wanted to mention here. So first of all, what about other systems or style advice? Because I feel like this is a question that comes up a lot. As I said, there's a lot of other style advice out there, and all of the other style advice can be really useful and very helpful. I'm not here to tell you that the style key is your one-stop shop for your style needs. So my short answer is that other style advices are really welcome. They have their place. They can be easily combined. The question is, what do they give you and how can you use them? So the thing with the style key is that we're always asking, how are you going to use this? What's the point of this? Like, what are you trying to do with the style? And so if you watch a reel and they're like, do your eyebrows like this, we're like, okay, for what? What does this accomplish for me? And how does that help me get to my style goals? So you may have heard and watched me do this really adorable analogy, as you know, I love analogies, with the style sandwich. Sandwich photo. Okay, and the style sandwich is that on top, right, we have this question of how do I want my style to be? What is my big vision? And then on the bottom, we have this bigger question of like, is this working for me? Am I satisfied? But in the middle, like a big part of the style sandwich is like, how do I get there? What are all of the techniques and the systems and the tips and the tricks that I'm going to use there? So as a really, really basic example, let's say you have this vision where all you want to do is to have fun with your style. That's just like, you're maybe like working from home or nobody cares what you wear and you're like really happy and you have zero like worries about flattering and you just like been really down and you want to have fun, right? This is a great idea to have an intention like, right now, all I want from style is just to like bring me happiness and joy, right? And so then we would ask like, how do I get there? What are some of the techniques, the trends, and the tips that take me there? So probably techniques about how you have to do your makeup to kind of flatter your face might not be that relevant to you. They just might not be that interesting. Whereas looking at trends like, oh, fairy core, I look like a fairy, tomato girl, I do my face like a tomato. Oh, like dopamine dressing. I want to learn about color theory because I want to wear many colors together and I want to learn how to pair them, right? So all of those tips, tricks, and strategies, though those are things that make sense for you to put your time onto. And of course, as a secondary, you could be like, okay, I want to wear bright colors because dopamine dressing, but I also want to feel really pretty. So then I do need to figure out what are flattering, harmonious colors on me. So that could be a reason for you to learn about undertone and color theory, whatever, right? But do you understand what I'm saying? That like your goal always is to come back to this question, like, is it working and am I satisfied? So your big vision was to have fun with style and to cheer yourself up. So the question you're always asking is like, if I think about my style during the last month or over the last week, did it cheer me up? Did it make me happy? Am I satisfied? Because otherwise we could ask ourselves, well, did it cheer me up? Yes, but also it wasn't as cool as this other lady's. And also, like, maybe I should blah, blah, blah. And then we can come up with a billion things we're supposed to be doing. And it's like, okay, how is that going to happen? Like, where in your life is the energy, time, money going to come from for your style to fulfill 100 different criteria perfectly? And if you want that 100 perfect criteria, you want your style to be really uniquely you, really haute couture, really, really flattering, really impressive to everybody, really special, affordable, etc., then it just needs to take up super much of your life, which is a really fine choice. And some people really do that. So it's just about being realistic about what are you willing to put in and what do you want to get out. And again, like, as I said in the very beginning, I'm so aware that thinking about, like, what are you going to put in? What are you going to get out? This way of thinking about style for a lot of people is just like, they're like, no, thank you. I just want to watch some reels and have fun and go shopping. And I just want to say, like, all power to you. If you watch this and you're like, this is exhausting, it's not for you, and it's not a problem with you or the system, and I support you 100% in your own journey. But yeah, my perspective, again, just to summarize, it's just that, like, the systems are supposed to be getting you somewhere you want to go, and if it's not getting you somewhere you want to go, you don't need it. As another, like, really quick example for my left up amethyst clients, as I said, for you, style is all about communicating who you are out into the world. So any system that tells you what you're supposed to look like is not helping you communicate who you are out into the world, because they're already telling you what it's supposed to look like. So if you follow these, for example, like essences, facial essences, which is like, you know, this is the style, it's like, but they're telling you what it needs to look like, and that's not really in coherence with your aim. So instead, you are looking for style systems that help you figure out, how do I put out that thing I want into the world, right? I know what I want to show. How can I show it? And, you know, if I want to show that I'm intimidating, then style systems can help me figure out what looks intimidating on me, what does it? Like, if I'm maybe like really petite, then like a really wide, oversized blazer is not going to look intimidating on me, because I'm going to look a bit overwhelmed by it. So does that make sense? Like, the difference between a tool helping you get where you want to go versus a tool that like tells you where you are supposed to want to go. I feel like that's just like the main difference, and it kind of circles back to this analogy I made at the very beginning about how we can imagine that style is kind of like a gym, where it's like doing really heavy squats isn't better than doing a lot of squats, and isn't better than taking a dance class, because it just depends on what you want your fitness to be about. So the same thing here is like, you use the style systems in accordance with what you want your style to be about, and the style key is helping you figure it out. It's helping you figure out, what do you want your style to be about? Okay, does this make sense to you? I would really love some reassurance, or if it doesn't make sense, I would just like some like brutal honesty so I know. I'm having so much fun, you guys. This is like the best stream. I think, oh my god, it's because I couldn't stream on Sunday, so I've been like stream deficient. Like suffering from like a stream YouTube deficiency. Speaking of which, I will not be able to stream on Sunday again, because I'm going to a spa hotel with my friend, because she finally sent away her book manuscript. It's finished, gonna come out in the spring, and I also am just really amazing in many different ways, so we are celebrating with a spa getaway. So I can't do my Sunday stream, so I might do a Saturday stream instead. And I was thinking about streaming about this, like shopping, like how to do my shopping tips, because some people asked about that, and that seemed really fun, so I might do that. Okay. People, they're like, they're not loving the style sandwich, but they're not hating it. So, all right, I guess I'll just have to interpret your silence as meaning yes. Oh wait, I made one more slide. This is really cute. I'm really proud of it. Let me just arrange my face. So I made you a slide called EG color analysis, right? So in color analysis, we have color seasons, and color seasons say that the colors we wear depend on kind of a combination of our hair, skin, and eye color. And all three of these people, I think, shouldn't be wearing black according to their color season. And I know color season doesn't say, oh, this is like illegal, but I just wanted to show this thing about like, so Anya Taylor-Joy, right? She's wearing black, and it contrasts with her very, very pale hair and her very like, very sharp, very dark makeup. She's wearing it. It looks quite spooky and very sexy, and that's what she wants, right? So she is using a color to achieve a specific look. And if somebody saw her in that and they were trying to analyze her through the lens of color analysis, they could be like, oh, look at Anya. She looks so washed out in this dress and she looks so overwhelmed by this color. But that's kind of the point, right? Or like, look at Taylor Swift, and here she's just wearing a black t-shirt. Again, she probably looks really nice in light colors. But I think she was wearing this t-shirt in the spring where she was like coming out her tour. I don't know, like it was like her being out on the town and being a cool girl. So like black, you know, it's suitable, it's appropriate. It's not her most flattering color if we wanted to do some strict color analysis, but it was like the t-shirt that she wanted to wear and she enjoyed it. So again, like thinking not, am I allowed to wear this color or not, but just what's the point? And for her, it created this fun, cohesive look with her shoes. Or for Blake, she's wearing black here in a very elegant way. She wants to look elegant. And so her dress is really giving her that elegance thing. So again, she's using the tool of the color analysis to achieve the desired result. And that's what I want to help you with. Okay, so that's it for the stream. I think the last thing I just want to say is like, where can I start? Because that's the obvious question. If you are curious about the style key, I would say the first place to start is to visit our new website. It's linked down below. It's www.yourstylekey.com, your style key. And it's just a really great resource where we have summarized in writing all of the things I talked about in the stream about what are the different keys, how they can help you, what do they do for you. And then I think that the very basic approach, if you just are a little bit curious about the system, but you don't really want to work with it that much, is just to choose your quadrant based on vibes, feelings, just random, whatever. Then look at the celebrities, look at the archetypes from my archetype cheat sheet, just like look at this stuff. Take what you want, right? You're like, oh, I looked at this thing. Hey, isn't this fun? I'm right up. Oh, like Yara Shahidi, she's cool. Maybe I'll dress like her, and just move on. I think this is like a totally valid use of the style system, just to add it into your pocket, into your stack of style stuff that you find interesting. That's really nice. So you can just take either the archetypes or my celebrity examples as just very easy inspiration, or just take a keyword like, oh yeah, I never thought about needing drama before. Drama is a good word for me. So you just take that and you move on. But if you want to like more work with the system, I would really recommend, yeah, watching the Style Logic videos, trying on the Style Logic, or looking at the visual inspiration, right? So on our Pinterest, on our website, a link to Pinterest below, we have, yeah, all of these celebrities. I have like 250 pins for each quadrant, and I have one video about the old money aesthetic for each quadrant. I'm going to do more of these aesthetics through the fall. They just, you know, they take research, but I'm going to do more aesthetics so you can see how different quadrants interpret it visually. So you can work both from the visual perspective and from the Style Logic perspective. And again, I really recommend my foundations course. It's $25. It's these 3 activities. I'm going to update it this week. And if you already have it, you'll get the update, but it's going to contain all 4 of the Style Logics and audio that explains everything. So you can kind of try out the different keys. And that's a really great thing to do if you want to go deeper with it and use it as a tool. I also can really recommend the Reddit. I like to visit there sometime. Link it below just to like see real people using the system. And of course, if you, this is the perfect place to mention that if you want to like really work with the system, I'm doing this 12-week style course. So if you have been looking at the system, you're like, this is really cool, but I really don't think I can actually get all of these cool benefits Rita is talking about, because it takes a lot of effort and time and commitment and knowledge, then, but you really want to do a big difference with style and you want to put in that work, I really invite you to check out our style course. It is a 12-week like group journey, and it is really, really amazing. It's just like the best thing for sure that I've done in terms of educating people with style. And you can join until the end of the month, and I'm going to link it below. So you have kind of a lot of different options for how you can use the system, from the most casual like drive-by to the most intense like let's work together for 12 weeks. And you're like very, very welcome to use it in any way that suits you, because again, my only goal is just to help you as much as possible. The more that I work with the system, the more I work with clients and create learning materials, the more I'm like, oh my God, like this is so helpful. And like every day I get more and more excited about how good this is, based on like all of the nice messages I get from people and the transformations I see. And I'm just like, oh my God, like it smells so good. So I'm really, really eager basically to kind of keep it growing as much as I can in any way possible. And I'm really grateful to anybody who like, you know, participates in any way, because we're all kind of building this beautiful, beautiful community together. And most importantly, I think, yeah, just strengthening this principle that style is not some like trivial, shallow thing for silly people who don't have anything in their heads, just want to go shopping, but it's a really important act of self-affirmation and personal growth and empowerment and expression and getting to know ourselves on a really deep level and being present in the world in a really powerful way. And it's just, yeah, really, really meaningful and really important, really amazing. So I know that if you're here, then you share that. And I just want to say thank you, because it's, I think, yeah, kind of rare and really, really special and really important. So that's it for today. Thank you for saying the website is good and all the hearts. Your system helps me understanding how to create visual interest in a way that's coherent with what I want to express and feel. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everybody. This was really fun today. I hope you had fun. And if you want any, like, if there's anything you want me to talk about in the future, anything you felt, oh, the reader should have answered this, or you're like, this was confusing, just tell me, because when people tell me, I can improve. And if you don't tell me, it's harder. Okay. Okay. That's it for today. Okay. Bye.